Hi, I'm Tim Harris, head golf professional here at Pelican Sound. I'm here with Kurt Stiegel, first assistant, and we're going to go over a couple of rule situations that many of you may find yourself getting into when you're out here playing at Pelican Sound. We're here on river hole number 7, and what we want to do today is we want to go over the relief situations when your ball lands on a cart path. The cart path is considered an immovable obstruction, so how you take relief is important to know, and we're going to show you two different ways. Kurt hit his ball here on the left side of river number 7, so you can see it on the cart path. So he gets free relief when his ball is on a cart path. So the nearest point of relief when the ball is on this side of the cart path is over here to the left. So what Kurt's going to do is he's going to mark his position at the nearest point of relief, and then he is allowed to take 1 club length of free relief from that point, and then drop the ball.
My 1 club length must be no closer to the hole, don't forget.
You notice when he drops the ball, he extends his arm out and just releases it. The ball is in play now, and he can go ahead and hit his next shot. Now, let's say Kurt hit his ball over to this side of the cart path, okay? So now we're on the right-hand side of the cart path. The nearest point of relief now is over on this side. So one thing that a lot of people don't understand is that when you do take relief, you are afforded complete relief. And by complete relief, we mean that no interference with your stance or your swing. So now watch the option that he does here. The nearest point of relief is determined after he takes his stance. So he's going to take his stance where his feet are relieved from the immovable obstruction, which is the cart path. There we go. Then he puts a tee down where the ball would be. Now he gets 1 club length from that spot. Okay, so he goes out even further, and as I mentioned before, you can't go closer to the hole. So he's going to mark the position there. Now he can drop within those 2 tees where the ball would have been, and then complete relief afforded 1 club length out, takes his drop, and now the ball is in play, so he can go ahead and hit his next shot. So showing the difference between the 2 different sides of the cart path is very important. If you're a right-handed golfer, like Kurt is, then he's taking complete relief on the right-hand side of the cart path. Now, if Kurt was a left-handed golfer, it would just be the opposite, because he's hitting from this side. So he would stand over here, put his club down, and take 1 club length from that spot as a left-handed golfer, whereas over here, he can just take it from within this spot right here, 1 club length, no closer to the hole. Okay, here's another situation with an immovable obstruction. As you can see here, Kurt's ball has landed just to the right of this grate that is in the fairway. So obviously if Kurt tried to hit this ball, his stance would be on the grate, and because that is an immovable obstruction and interferes with his stance or his swing, he is entitled to complete relief from that object. So what he's going to do is he's going to first take his stance, which is away from the object. He's going to put the club down, and he's going to mark the position of where the ball would be when he takes his stance, and now he gets 1 club length from that spot, complete relief away from the obstruction, and he can drop as long as the ball is no closer to the hole within 1 club length of that spot. Okay, so now that ball is in play. Kurt can go ahead and without penalty hit his next shot. He is now completely free from the obstruction. Okay, so Kurt hit his shot here on river number 8, but he hooked it and it went out of bounds. So as you can see, we have the white stakes designating out of bounds. Kurt's ball is on the non-golf course side, so it is out of bounds. So what are your situations? What do you have to do when you hit a ball out of bounds? Well, unfortunately, out of bounds means that you have to take stroke and distance into play. So Kurt has to go all the way back to where he last hit that shot that you saw, and he has to drop into that same position. And now he is losing the distance, and he is counting another stroke. So that was his 2nd shot from the fairway. He hit the 2nd shot out of bounds, so he picks up the ball, he drops his 3rd shot, and now he'll be hitting his 4th shot back from the original point. Some people don't understand the out of bounds rules, and they drop from where it last crossed, but that's not good when you're talking about out of bounds. It's a white marker. White markers or white lines determine out of bounds, so you have to penalize yourself stroke and distance. So Kurt's going to go back and he's going to replay from the original spot. Okay, this is a local rule here at Pelican Sound that we've adopted. Pelican Sound has a lot of areas around the greens that is closely mown, and a lot of members like to putt from those areas. But let's say you have a situation like the one Kurt is in here, where a sprinkler head is in between where his golf ball is and where the hole is. Now, if the sprinkler head is within 2 club lengths from the edge of the green, okay, and his ball is within 2 club lengths of the sprinkler head, he is entitled to free relief from his line of play. Normally you don't get relief from your line of play from an immovable obstruction because it would have to interfere with your stance or your swing. But this is a local rule. It's a special rule that we've enacted simply because a lot of people like to use this to putt. So what we're going to do is we're going to mark the position of the ball, and then he's going to lift it. And now he can drop 1 club length on either side, no closer to the hole, to give himself complete relief from the line of play. So he's going to mark his position here. Now he's going to drop a ball within there. And now he has a clear line right to the hole if he so wishes to putt. So from this position, he can go ahead and he can make the putt without interference from the sprinkler head. So again, this is a local rule. It's not a rule of golf, but because Pelican Sound is unique and it has situations where you have a lot of sprinkler heads around the edges of the green, we're going to take advantage of that rule, and we're going to afford him complete relief from that from the sprinkler head into his line of play. Okay, now we're going to cover a very common rule situation, one that happens quite a bit. All the different relief procedures you get when your ball enters a lateral water hazard. Now here at Pelican Sound and elsewhere, lateral water hazards are defined by a red line or a red stake. So we're out here right now on river hole number 9. You can see very clearly that we have a red line that borders the pond up here by the green. Now Kurt has hit his ball into the lateral water hazard, but because we haven't had any rain lately, his ball is up and he can go ahead and play it. So one of his options is to go ahead and play the ball, but he must not ground his club while he's in the water hazard. So he can go ahead in there. He can't move anything around with his feet. He can't move any loose impediments. He can take his stance, hover his club, and go ahead and hit it if he'd like. Now if there was water there and his ball was just barely up and you could still see his ball in the water, well, he can go ahead and try to hit it if he wanted to. So that's option number 1. You can always go ahead and hit it if you have the ability to hit it. Option number 2 is he can go all the way back to where he last hit, similar to what was shown in the out of bounds, and he can go and hit from there. That option rarely gets used because he's losing the distance. The advantage of having a lateral water hazard with the red line, the red stake, is that you can come up to where the ball last crossed, and our next option is going to be the one that's most commonly played. Wherever that ball crossed the red line, he can mark that position, okay, and then he can take 2 club lengths from that position, no closer to the hole, and he can drop the ball within those 2 club lengths. Now the reason it's 2 club lengths instead of 1 club length like we were covering when it's free relief is because he has to take the penalty stroke when he does make this drop. So he's going to mark his position, that's 2 club lengths from where it last crossed. He's going to drop the ball, no closer to the hole, and now that ball is in play. Okay, so if he hit his 3rd shot into the water hazard, he's dropping 4 and he's hitting 5. Okay? Now the 4th option that you have when your ball's in a lateral water hazard is he can do the same thing where the ball last crossed, but looking at where the flag is, in some situations you can take the point of the flag and draw a straight line to where the ball crossed the margin of the hazard and then go back as far as you want. So in this situation here, because the flag is on the right hand side of the green, you can draw a line from the flag to the point where his ball crossed the margin, and now you can go and extend that line as far back as you want, and you can drop on that line. So maybe you have a distance that you're used to back here that you're comfortable with, and you want to take advantage of that option, you're more than welcome to do that. That's your 4th option. The 5th option is one that's very rarely used because it doesn't really lend itself to be able to be played, and that's to go on the opposite side of the margin. Here, if you went on the opposite side of the hazard, you'd be out there on the road. So there's nothing in play that'll allow you to make a drop on the opposite side of the hazard. Sometimes in courses up north, when they have parallel holes that run next to each other and you might have a pond in between them, you might find situations where you can use that option, but you don't see it very much down here in Florida. So taking advantage of knowing the rules and having an understanding of what options you have will help you out. The most common one is just taking the drop. But always remember, and this is where a lot of people get confused, it's where the ball crosses the margin of the hazard, not where it ends up. So if Kurt's ball, let me see your ball here, Kurt. Thank you. If Kurt's ball was in the air and it crossed right here, but ended up way forward up there, okay, that doesn't mean that you can drop up there opposite where his ball is. It means that you have to take your drop from this point where the ball crossed the margin of the hazard. So the most common one is the 2 club lengths from where it crossed. Go ahead and take your drop and hit forward.